Hi there. I'm Sue Kies. How are you today? I hope you're social distancing like you're supposed to be doing. I know I am. No kidding. I don't want to get that disease. So, today I'm a retired English teacher, and I kind of miss teaching The Great Gatsby. So, I thought I'd do a little lesson on The Great Gatsby. Okay, so if you'll kind of bear with me here, and there's some things about the coronavirus too that kind of remind me of these times. All right, and you have to talk about the times of a book in order to really get into it and talk about getting into it. I'm going to get into it right now here. Okay, I'm going to put on my flapper gear because in the 1920s they had flappers. Okay, and flappers were women who went around with their scarves and their bobs. They bobbed their hair because it used to be women had long hair, and they wore short skirts. Their ankles showed, and many people didn't like that their ankles showed. But anyway, so 1920s, everybody was flying high. It's kind of like before the coronavirus hit. Okay, everybody, we took everything for granted. It was all wonderful and life was good, and they had parties and they had alcohol. And of course, you know that alcohol was illegal then, okay? You paid attention in history class. I know you did. There were bootleggers that supplied the alcohol, and they'd go into speakeasies, the people who wanted to drink, and you'd have a special knock to get into the door, and hopefully the cops wouldn't come and raid the place, all right? Because then you'd be in jail. That's not a good thing. Okay, so everything was riding high until not the coronavirus, until the stock market crash. Okay, 1929. See there? We have visual aids. 1929, crash, boom, bang, stock market went. Okay, but this book takes place before then. Okay, so everybody's happy. Well, not all the way through the book, but anyway, times are good. Okay. Now, those were the times, okay? The place the book took place is New York City. And in New York City, if you've ever visited there, you know that it's made up of boroughs, okay? 5 different boroughs. When we think of New York City, we usually think of the tall buildings, in Times Square and Broadway and all that. But there are other boroughs too, and one of those boroughs is where this book takes place. And I did another little drawing for you here. Okay, here's Manhattan. Okay, that's what we think of usually when we think of New York City, and Manhattan is Times Square and all that stuff I just told you about. And the Long Island, that's why it's called Long Island. It's a Long Island. And in between Manhattan and Long Island is Long Island Sound. And on this side of Long Island, okay, the side that's facing toward Manhattan, is where our characters live, in a place called East Egg and West Egg. Okay, and Fitzgerald, F. Scott Fitzgerald, who wrote the book, tells us about them right away. Okay, so East Egg and West Egg. And East Egg and West Egg have their different peeps. Okay, so we have a class system going on in this book, okay? Kind of like we do now, like this great big income divide that we have going on. We have real rich people and we have real poor people, and there's not a lot of middle class anymore. So again, kind of reminds me of those times. Okay, we have the old rich, okay? Old rich. I have here that they're supercilious, which means they kind of go around with their nose in the air thinking they're super good, like they're better than everybody else. And so we have the old rich, and old rich means is that they got their money passed down to them. Their ancestors or predecessors made the money and just, here you go, little Joe, and here you go, Mary, and it gave everybody, all the kids, money. Can you imagine not having to work ever because your parents have so much money they just give it to you? Well, anyway, we do have the old rich. Then we have the new rich. And I kind of talked to you about them already because those were the people that would be bootlegging. They've never had money before, but they see opportunity and they take advantage of it. So we have bootleggers, stock market people, gangsters, lots of people looking for the opportunities that are right out there, and they made a lot of money too. Then, of course, we have the poor. Just like we do now. There are very poor people who can work, but they don't make enough money to get along. You know, you've heard the stories about people who have 3 part-time jobs and they still don't have enough money to subsist on. Well, this is the same thing back in these days, okay? And there's a poor family that lives in this story too, on Long Island, right where you cross over the bridge to go into Manhattan. They call it the ash heaps, and you're going to find out all about that and who lives there, and all these characters that interact and look down on each other, and some of them are kind of nasty, naughty people. You'll find out. And our narrator of the book, it's all told by one person. The narrator's name is Nick Carraway, okay? Nick Carraway is a trusted friend-like person, and he tells the story, okay? Oh, I see I've got some bling here to put on here. Did you know that the new rich, when they get lots of money, they like their bling? All right, you know, just like, you know, basketball players or movie stars and all that, when they get rich real quick, they tend to spend it on flashy, gaudy things. Here, get this on here. There we go. Flashy and gaudy. And then, therefore, the old rich kind of look down at him and say, oh, look at those silly new rich people. They don't even know how to spend money buying those blingy, tacky things like what I've got that don't even stay on there. Okay? Yeah. All right. So, I've given you an introduction to the book. You know where it took place, the times, and you also know the place where it was taking place, the New York City on Long Island. And so you're all set up for it. When you read the book, I suggest you make a little character map and put Nick Carraway in the middle of it here and branch off, because in the first 2 chapters, you meet almost all the characters. The only one you don't meet, and you just kind of see him at the end of chapter 2, is Gatsby. Okay? And I know a lot of you have probably seen the new movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. And I don't like that movie. So it just... Anyway, you will understand this book or the story much better if you read the book, not watch the movie. Although I did like some of the music in there, but the scenes were all computer animated or computer generated. I mean, I didn't like that, but I guess I'm not a movie critic, am I? I'm just doing a Sue talk here. Okay, so next time, join me again, and we will talk about the characters you meet in chapters 1 and 2. Thanks for joining me. Ta-ta. And don't go to any speakeasies.